Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Beer with Brandon. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Bond, Keller Williams Realty, Paris, Texas. Now, for those unfamiliar with Beer with Brandon, we talk about real estate on the 007th of every month. Today, I have a special guest with me, a man that doesn't need an introduction, and we're going to talk about what happens if you have too much water in or around your property. Without further ado, Mr. Chance Woodard, how are you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
Excellent, sir.
Good.
So Chance is with Southern Pro and local. We're going to talk about drainage. We're going to talk about trees, transplantation. But before we get into that, have you seen the show?
I have, and
Do you know what's important about Beer with Brandon?
I do.
It's having a beer. Let's go grab one.
Let's do it.
All right. It shouldn't take coming on the show to have a beer together, but here we are.
Here we are.
Okay, we got our beer. Now, I want to do a beer spotlight. Time flies in the beautiful downtown Paris. On tap, Franconia Dunkel, made locally, well, kind of locally, in McKinney, Texas.
McKinney, yeah.
What you got there, Chance?
I have a St. Arnold's lawnmower.
Oh, everything. That St. Arnold's.
Good Houston beer.
It is very good. A little bit of backstory. It's kind of funny, actually. Drinking beer is familiar with us because I actually called this guy about 8 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's probably longer than that.
10 years ago?
10 at least.
For a job at Benny Keith. And we both worked for Mike Jones. Shout out to Mike Jones, Benny Keith.
Mike Jones.
Really awesome that we got to drink beer with Benny Keith. And now here we are drinking beer, talking about real estate and talking about lines and drainage. So let's get into it. Tell the people, where'd you get started at? How did this come about?
Well, we started Southern Pro in January of 16. So, a little over 5 years ago.
Now, you did landscaping and stuff prior to that too, right?
Yes, I had Evergreen Landscapes in 03.
03, so almost 20 years doing this kind of business. Mm-hmm. Right now, of course, everybody knows it used to be April showers, but it seems here lately that May has brought even more rain. So tell us, homeowner, someone who doesn't know who to call for drainage, tell us kind of like what you do. You get to a property, someone says, hey, I got flooding around my house, I got water standing in the yard. You're the person to call. You show up. Do you look at more the perimeter of the property? You see the layout? Well, what's like the first thing that...
Well, we check the grade first.
Okay.
To make sure there's not too much negative grade there. There's several factors that go into to drainage and grading.
Awesome. Let's hear it.
So the main thing is gutters. We use all PVC piping. But if you have gutter problems, gutters, sometimes they can flood the yard. So
absolutely.
They need to run to the street in some instances, and then sometimes you need French drains. French drain takes the saturation out of the ground, and usually we run them in the same trench. And gutter drains, which is a solid pipe, then we use catch basins. That's for your top water, roof water, rainwater.
A lot of different types of drains.
Oh yeah.
And I'm certainly, I don't know all of them that's involved. What do you think is the most important factor in real estate? The type of soil, that a foundation sits on is very important. How important is it installing the proper type of drain system to ensure that if you have foundation issues or if you've had foundation work done before, how important is this drain?
Well, you need to get it done because, a lot of foundation repair guys, it'll void the warranty if no work gets done.
Really?
Because if water, is sitting around a slab or, it needs something.
Yep.
So you have to get that water away.
With that being said, getting the water away, what's an average job take as far as time-wise?
Well, usually it's wet. It's usually muddy.
Because
there's a lot of cleanup involved, and
right.
It could be a 2-day, it could be a 3-day, it could be a 4-day. It just really depends on how in depth the project is,
how extensive they want.
And what you want to do after the project. We'll do beds afterwards. To have gravel or river rock or something to perforate the drains, and things bleed into another that can make the time span go further.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because, maybe one of your specialties is drains, but that's certainly not the only thing you do.
Oh, no.
While you're there, you can do landscaping, plant trees, install different types of grass. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we offer, around 5 different types of grass. Zoysia grass, and then we do Bermuda grass. We have Tifton, Celebration, Northbridge.
I have no idea, by the way, what type these are.
You've got your top end grasses, which is Northbridge.
Yep.
On your Zoysia, you have Xeon or you have Geo. Those are your specialty type grasses for those.
Now, you know that I have no idea what you're talking about.
And that's what I'll do to explain that. And we use Zoysia, not so much in shady areas, but they do apply to that. They do grow better in shady areas.
Okay.
But a lot of times people have, where they can't grow grass under trees.
Yes, and I have that problem.
Yes, well, it makes your ground acidic, and Zoysia actually grows in more acidic soils than Bermuda grass will. So that's why we apply Zoysia grass to those places too.
Wow. One thing that y'all do, and I saw a video on your social media. By the way, go check out this guy's social media, Southern Pro. A machine that backed up to a tree and essentially dug the tree out of the ground to be transplanted or moved to another part of the property.
Yes. Now, we've been digging trees since 03.
The old-fashioned way.
Well, there's burlap trees that come from the tree farm, and then there's container trees that come from our nurseries, that we use. The transplantation, we do that during the wintertime.
Okay. And now, why is that? Why during the wintertime?
Well, the sap's falling out of the trees, and that's the foliar's out of them.
So it's maybe lighter?
Well, it's the sap's in the roots, so it's actually putting down the roots. So when you move them, it really helps with the transplantation. And the difference in your container trees, they have millions of really fine roots, where transplanting a tree or a burlap tree is only going to have feeder roots. So the shock value is different. It's just easier to move them during the wintertime.
It's really awesome to know that someone offers a service that can relocate a tree on your property.
Yep, and we've got about 120 already scheduled. So,
my goodness.
So, like if you like cedar privacy and you have cedar trees, you can move them to block out your neighbor.
No one would ever want to do that.
And it's pretty common.
Okay, so if someone wanted to contact you based on everything we talked about, how would they reach out to you?
They can call me 903-445-7106, or we have southernprotx.com.
southernprotx.com.
Yep.
Email address in case
southernprodesign@gmail.com.
southernprodesign@gmail.com. Love it. Well, I mean, that's pretty much all the time we have today. I feel like we covered all the topics fairly well, and again, appreciate you coming on the show. For anyone else out there that has real estate needs, give me a call, Mr. Brandon Bond, 903-609-9178. And of course, I have to thank wonderful sponsors, Time Flies, and the beautiful downtown Paris. Excellent craft selection. And of course, if you haven't been up here on Friday night, it is the most happening place in town. Steak nights on Friday. You ever had a tomahawk steak?
Not here, I have not.
Oh my goodness, they are amazing, by the way. Other than that, Beer with Brandon wants everybody to please drink responsibly. We'll see you again on the 007 next month for Beer with Brandon. Other than that, thank you again, sir, for being on here. And
some beer.
Let's go finish these off. How about that? All right. Woo!